Hello YouTube, hello, and we're back. Of course we are. And today, we're talking about pokes and poking in general. Very important topic, very important because poking is a very universal thing in Tekken and every character has it one way or the other. One way or the other. And some characters have better poking, some characters not so much. So let's actually talk about them. What is a poke? What actually is a poke? Let's just give a clear definition of the word, because many might have different answers. So, the definition of a poke can be a little bit varied depending if we're talking about mid pokes or low pokes. So there are two types of pokes, right? Mid pokes, low pokes, they can be high pokes as well. Okay, 3 types. And let's just distinguish between high and mid and low. Two distinctions. So usually mid pokes and even high pokes are fast moves, let's say a down forward 1 on Dragunov, that's why I have Dragunov here, or a jab, which is a high. One is a mid, one is a high. They're fast. If you want the exact number on it, they need to be, let's say, 15 frames or faster. So 15, 14, all of those can work as pokes. That's one thing they need to have. The other thing they need to have are good frames. So frames need to be good. And if you want an exact number on that as well, let's say from -5 to +5. So if any move falls in that category, those categories, it can be classified as a poke. More or less, there are exceptions. There can be exceptions. But let's say this 13 frames fast, category 1 faster than 15 works. It's -2. It's better than -5, right? It is better. Works. It categorizes itself as a low poke. Not low, mid poke. It's fast. Same as a jab or a 2 jab, right? 10 frames fast, very fast. +1, 0. Works just fine. Works absolutely okay. Something like this, for example, while it is quite fast, the frames aren't there. It's -9. So it can't really be categorized as a high poke. Even though it is pretty damn fast, it also has good range. It has like other strengths, right? So that's one definition. Let's go to the other definition. Low pokes. So low pokes have a little bit of a different definition. It's not exactly the same. While they are also fast-ish, they're not as fast. They can be. But the definition of the frames, if you want an exact number, again, it's 20 frames or faster. Example, if something is, let's say, 18 frames, like a Dragunov down 2, that can be categorized as a low poke. But it's not the only definition. We need more. So the other one is it has to have good frames, just like the mid and high pokes. So the frames also has to be from +5 to -5, usually, right? Usually. But the thing about lows is that the lows always come with an inherent risk of being blocked. So if you want to categorize a low as a poke, the block frames also need to be good, right? Exactly like the mid ones, but lows is a little bit of a different question or different topic. So lows need to be, let's say, -13 or better. So 12, 11, the lower the better, obviously, right? So for example, even if they're higher, sometimes they can also work as a poke, but they just carry higher risk. So example of that I already said is Dragunov's down 2. This is the low poke. Another example is Dragunov's down 3. Another low poke. It is -3, so from -5 to +5, it's in that range. And it's also faster than 20. This can also work. Another example that can kind of work and kind of not is the hatchet grip of Dragunov. So it does go into the range, barely, it's 20 frames fast, barely, but it is there. And it's also +3, so the frame range is also good. But what's the problem here? Why is it not considered a low poke then? It's because of the block property of it. Because the moment they do block something like this, it is -31. And as I already mentioned, the block property is important. The block property is low if it is, let's say, 13 or better, it can categorize itself as a low poke. Even if it's 14 sometimes, right? If, let's say, 14 or better, because for most characters, they will not launch you. So down 2, which is -13, right? This is -13, works absolutely perfectly. Same as down 3, which is -14. This can also work. As I already said, -14 can also somewhat work. Other moves, like, for example, a generic down 4, this one can also categorize itself as a low poke. But since this is launch punishable, it's -15, it's a risky low poke. You can also categorize this as a risky low poke. But you can also just say it's not really a poke, right? Because of the risk that it carries. This is a little bit easier to say that it's more of a poke because it's exactly -15. It's a little bit hard to punish as well. But That's basically the definition. Obviously, there are other ways to define them, but this is the definition of pokes and what they are. Now, how to use them? How to use pokes? There are two things I will tell you guys. One is a simple way, and the second one is a little bit more complicated, but explains it a little bit further. So let me start with the simple one. The simple one is, let's just imagine a scenario. Now you guys imagine that I just come through the camera and just poke you. I just poke you like that. I just poke you. Did anything happen? Like, not that big of a deal, right? You didn't really get hurt, did you? No, it's just one poke. How about I do it again? I just do it again. Still not that big of a deal. Okay, how about I do it 50 times, 100 times? I just don't stop. You will get annoyed, right? Exactly. That is the purpose of poking. The purpose of poking is to do them enough for your opponent to get annoyed. Because the more annoyed they are, the worse they play. The worse they play, the more mistakes they make. The more mistakes they make, the more you can punish them, and the more you can punish them, the more you win games. It's just, this is the simple way to understand poking, right? Because poking, as I explained it, when you poke someone, just poke. You don't deal damage to them. It doesn't hurt, usually, right? It doesn't. But you annoy them. There we go, simple explanation. But what's the complicated explanation? So, the complicated explanation is basically the same in a way, but I'm not gonna like go in detail about it. So when you do a poke, doesn't matter which one, but it's usually a mid poke, usually can be a fast mid poke, you have to understand that what you're doing needs to be already in your head. You have to know what you're doing. Which is, you want to create an opening for yourself so you can punish something. Which is, as I said, you want a mistake. You want a mistake from them, which is why you do pokes, to annoy them. But when you have this in your head, you have to know that after down forward one, let's say I sidestep. That's why you see a lot of people do something like this, or jab sidestep, something like this, right? Jab sidestep, down forward one sidestep, all of this kind of stuff, or 2-1 sidestep, down forward one sidestep, jab sidestep, 1-3, even something like this can work, right? Sidestep. All of this kind of stuff. So the steps here is a way to punish someone's button, because you want to avoid that and then punish it. So a little bit of a more complicated term for me to describe this is you are creating patterns for yourself. So you are creating a pattern that you can recognize, because pattern recognition is hard. It's very difficult. So let's imagine you're just playing a normal game, right? And the Fang player is also playing a normal game. He's just backdashing or moving. He's just doing something. Can you actually recognize what he's doing? Oh, he's doing 5 backdashes into a singular sidestep, and that's a pattern. And now you can catch that. Can you recognize that? No, you can't recognize that. It's very hard to actually see something like that, obviously, right? Because the pattern isn't really there. It's not really there. He's doing 2 sidesteps into singular backdash into another sidestep. Let's catch that. No, that's not realistic. You are not catching that. But the purpose of pokes, even low ones, but usually it's mid ones, is to create your own pattern. So how you do this is you do this, and now you pay attention to what they do. This is their pattern now. So the moment they do something, you pay attention. If you sidestep, you can use that. If they backdash, you can use that. If they press, especially if they press, you can use that. So this, for example, let's say they press you. Let's say I do a poke, which doesn't matter which poke, let's say down forward 1. And they press the down forward 1 here. This is a pattern that I literally just created. I created this pattern. I memorized this pattern. So the moment I memorize this pattern, I can punish it. Which means now I can down forward 1, sidestep, punish this. I know they like to do this after this. Or after a jab, I sidestep, punish. Example, right? I down forward 1, sidestep, launch. A little bit risky, because I can't really confirm the whiff, but it's a thing. Let's say they don't punish you. Let's say they backdash, right? Oh, that's a backdash. That's a pattern. Now I noticed after down forward 1, he's scared. He's a little bit scared after down forward 1. So let me just, while running 2, into do it again and just continue pressuring him. Pattern. Let's say they sidestep 1 away. If you notice which way they sidestep, even better. But let's just say they sidestep. If they sidestep, you can also do something like this. You can. This works. If they sidestep, you can down 2 here as well. And mini tracking. If they sidestep, you can dash in and start pressuring even more because they're not pressing buttons. Why are you not pressing buttons? Get annoyed. Damn it, get annoyed. Right? Start pressing buttons. That's what you want. So you actually catch them. But you have to remember that you yourself are also creating a pattern. If they do the same thing that you're doing and they're paying attention, they will understand that after down forward one, you like to dash forward into a jab. Or after down forward one, you like to do a wall run. So if they notice your pattern, they can also beat that. That is the basis of poking. Poking 101 is pattern creation. And the pattern creation becomes easier if you annoy them. It is this simple. And when it comes to the mids and lows and highs, all of them can be used in this way. All of them. Let's say you do this. Notice what they do. If they don't do anything, wall running too, let's say. This is why you see a lot of pros do something like this, and they might even get a countered launch. They might sidestep into a button and it's a countered launcher. They might do this into another one because they respect it. They don't press. Right? Why aren't you pressing? Press, damn it. I'm gonna do it again. Just press. I'm definitely not gonna sidestep whatever you press and launch it or punish it like I did last time. No, when I sidestep and punish the down forward one. That is the basis of poking and how the mind games work with it. You create a pattern. You create it yourself. Because normally you can't recognize their pattern studies unless a button is being pressed. And down forward one is that kind of button. One more thing I need to say about pokes is that usually they carry little risk. I didn't mention this at the start, but usually pokes carry little risk. They are fast. They don't have that big whiff frames. That's why something like wall running 2, this is not a poke. Right? It's not a poke. Even though it can kind of categorize it as one, it's a bit slow. It is slow. Right? But it has a lot of risk because if you whiff it, it's very easy to punish. That's very risky. You can't really use it as a poke. It needs to be faster. That's one, as I already said. But another one is that it's risky. That's why some fast moves might also not be categorized as moves. Like, for example, down forward 2. Right? This is risky because it's punishable. It's not just that, but on whiff, it's very punishable as well. Even if this was, let's say, -5. Let's say it was -5, but didn't launch. Whatever. Right? But on whiff, if it is as bad as something like this, or maybe worse, it can't really be categorized as a poke. More or less, it can. So, yeah. All of this is poking 101, more or less. More or less. One thing to get out of this, by the way, is that every time you poke someone, you're trying to create a pattern. Every low you do, pay attention to what they do. That's the pattern you need to look out for. That's why you poke. You create a pattern. Another reason you poke is that you want to kill them, right? You just want to damage them. Obviously, that also works. You damage them. Damage them a little bit more and more and more. But the main thing, at least for me, if I want to explain it a little bit more simply, is that you are creating a pattern. And you're also annoying them. So, yeah. YouTube, thanks for watching. Big thank you for watching. And I'll see everyone in the next one. Till then.